You joined me in the early hours of the morning en route to Dorset for 2 days of landscape photography. First stop, Lulworth Cove. I'd been here a couple of times before, but I wanted to revisit at sunrise and try and capture the entire cove, something I hadn't managed to achieve before. A short walk up the coastal path from the cove is Stair Hole, an impressive rock formation providing some interesting photo opportunities as the waves come crashing through the arch. Although it was quite breezy, the skies and visibility were clear, giving views all the way across to Portland, which is where I'll be visiting later. Been up since about 2:30 AM, it was time to finally head back to the car for some much needed coffee and breakfast. My next stop was Kimmeridge Bay, another subject I'd wanted to visit again. However, this time it was just far too windy with a high tide, both of which persuaded me to move on to Eye Bridge. I knew I wouldn't be taking any stunning photos here, but this was simply a scouting trip for a future return visit. Maybe. The old Swanage piers are an interesting subject to photograph. I'll be coming back in the morning. This evening I decided to concentrate my efforts on the Swanage Banjo Pier, capturing some long exposures as the day's light faded into twilight and beyond. The following morning I was greeted with frost and ice on my car. Nevertheless, I headed out to my sunrise location, Old Harry Rocks at Studland. Driving along, the skies were looking promising. Dark blues with hints of pinks and magentas indicating that we could be in for an amazing sunrise. The walk from Studland along the cliff tops to Old Harry Rocks was typical of that feeling I get when out and about bright and early for landscape photography. The feeling of calming peacefulness, witnessing the very beginnings of a new day, which most people miss. The colours in the skies over the rock formations didn't disappoint, coupled with the turquoises of the waters below. Maybe better timing of a high tide would have been more beneficial to the photographs, but I'm happy with these. Time to return to Swanage and capture the piers in the morning light. They have been shot many times, and as such these photographs are nothing new, yet they are photographs I wanted in my collection. Not a soul about, I was the only person on the new pier, so I had it all to myself and I made the most of it. One advantage of visiting at this time of year is that the diving centre is all closed up, so the floating pontoon which prevented me from capturing the old pier on a previous occasion was no longer there, thereby giving me a full uninterrupted view of the pier, which is made for long exposures. On the drive to Portland, I stopped off for an impromptu panoramic of Poole Harbour. It was really windy over at Portland Bill, where I aimed to capture the lighthouse and Pulpit Rock. Well, I did the best I could without being swept out to sea. next stop was Lyme Regis via Abbotsbury, where I stopped off to photograph St Catherine's Chapel with Chesil Beach in the background. Photographically speaking, Lyme Regis is quite well known for the cob, a harbour wall with a distinctive S-shaped bend to it. Unfortunately, poor timing with the low tide prevented a great shot. I shall have to return again and hope for a third time lucky. My final stop was Colmers Hill, a picturesque looking hill which I had spotted several times on journeys along the A35. A simple case of using the Ordnance Survey maps to find a footpath or bridleway giving access to the perfect viewpoint. I wanted to be there at sunset to capture the last moments of light just touching the very top of the hill. Success. A good photo to finish my 2 days in Dorset.